Hi, my name is Scott Barber-Weiser, and I am the CEO and owner of SBW Empowerment LLC. At SBW Empowerment LLC, we assist people with disabilities to take control of their own lives through education and advocacy. We do this by teaching them how their earnings and other income will affect their benefits, as well as advocating for them if they have to meet with various systems like Social Security Administration, Department of Social Services, or Access VR. The main thing I'm going to focus on today is the benefits advisement that we provide. As a work incentives coordinator, I assist people who are either applying for benefits or they're on benefits and they want to go to work. So we help them figure it out either way. With SSI, Supplemental Security Income, and Ssdi, Social Security Disability Insurance, those are two programs that I assist people to apply for through the Social Security Administration. And we help people by filling out all the paperwork, filling out the application, and also going on the interview if they need us to advocate for them. The tool that I use to assist people in applying for benefits is called the Adult Disability Starter Kit. And what that is it's a tool that I use basically that puts all the information into one document so that when it comes time for us to apply for benefits, we're able to do that. And that's going to be your diagnosis. We list all the different diagnoses that a person has, mental or physical. And we list all the doctors, all the practitioners that they work with, as well as medications, treatments, and at the end of that application or that paperwork, we put their work history. So your work history is important because as we apply for Social Security disability, this program is built that someone has worked all these years, and now because you've become disabled, you're able to receive a disability check, or in some cases, what they called survivor benefits. So someone's worked, and that's how you're able to get your Social Security disability. For this program, after 24 months, you're going to be able to get Medicare, which we can help you with as well, with the different formularies, and looking at what plan best suits you to get involved with, get a Medicare plan that would help you. In the Adult Disability Starter Kit, we look at the checklist, which is all your medical records that are in your possession. We also call the doctors and different practitioners and find out how to get that information, because this is going to be your proof that you have a significant disability. We then take that proof and bring it to or send it to Social Security, and they use that in determining if you have a disability under Social Security's rules. We can look at your workers' comp. We can look at we want your name, dates, and everything of your children, your spouse, because if you're receiving a disability check, your minor children might be able to receive a check as well. Okay, so how does Social Security make the decision? We send our application to a state agency that makes disability decision. The state has medical and vocational experts who will contact your doctor and other places where you receive treatment to get medical records. The state agency may send you forms to complete, and I have those forms as well for releases. Social Security is not allowed to contact anybody without your informed consent, so I could help you fill out those paperwork as well. If Social Security decides that you are disabled, then the Social Security Administration pays disability benefits under two programs. Like I said, it was Social Security Disability Insurance, or what a lot of people like to refer to as Ssdi, for insured workers and their surviving spouse or children, and supplemental security income. And that's a needs-based program. We look at your income and resources as well as your living situation. Will my personal information be kept safe? Yes, all of your information is kept safe. Everything's up to HIPAA codes. And as a federal agency, Social Security is required by the Privacy Act of 1974 to protect the information that they get about your claim. If you're more comfortable in speaking another language, Social Security has many liaisons in different languages that can speak to you. So that's one thing that I would ask you in your intake interview, just to find out what you're more comfortable with. We want to make sure that you are getting what you want conveyed to Social Security in the best way possible. All the information that I'm giving you today is actually on socialsecurity.gov. We've just been doing this for a while, so we've pulled the information down for you, and we're able to give you the information that you need. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the Social Security work incentives, because that's what most people come to see me about. And these are different incentives that Social Security gives us so that we can go to work, and in some cases people transition off of benefits. Myself, I was on SSI growing up, and then became a social worker, got a job, and was able to transition off of SSI pretty easily. So the first thing I want to talk about is Ssdi, Social Security Disability Insurance. And like I said before, this program, someone has worked, and their work credits basically are what's giving you a Social Security disability check. But once you start working, the first time that you go to work and you make in 2022 over $970 a month gross earned income, you are engaging in something called trial work. Now, the 9-month trial work period is made so that we can try our hand out at working without losing any of our benefit. Because if you got on benefits, which can be a daunting process to begin with, and then I told you, you go to work tomorrow, you lose everything, that's not a great incentive for you to go to work. So they have this 9-month trial work period, which is only the months that you make over $970 a month. Now, the other thing that Social Security looks at is your substantial gainful activity. That's actually how Social Security defines disability for adults. It's the inability to do any substantial gainful activity by reason of any medically determinable physical or mental impairment which can be expected to result in death, or which lasts or expects to last at least a period of 12 months or more. So substantial gainful activity, which is represented by 1,350 right now, that's gross earned income per month, we look at that for different things too. So if you go through your 9-month trial work period and you've made substantial gainful activity in any part of that, you're going to get a grace period. And a grace period is basically 3 more months after your 9-month trial work period that enables you to make as much as you want without losing your benefit. Sometimes when you call Social Security to report your income, they say, don't worry about it, you don't have to call me for a year. It's because they're looking at that 9-month trial work period and that 3-month grace period and saying, oh, you have a year of working. Not everybody's work history is that cut and dry, so that's why I'm explaining it to you today. After your 9-month trial work period, Social Security gives you something called an extended period of eligibility. And again, this is when we look at you in terms of your substantial gainful activity. If you, during your 36-month extended period of eligibility, the months that you make over $1,350 a month in 2020, it goes up every year, you're not entitled to your check. The months you make under that, you are entitled to your check. So some people get a part-time job and are able to make $1,000 a month, and then they keep their disability check and their paycheck until they are satisfied enough that they can go to work and nothing's going to go wrong. So 36-month extended period of eligibility, any month you make over substantial gainful activity, you're not entitled to your check. Any month you make under it, you are entitled to your check. And so that lasts for 36 months. After your 36-month extended period of eligibility, if you've made over substantial gainful activity twice, then your benefit, your cash benefits would stop at that point. And the next work incentive we have for people is called Expedited Reinstatement of Benefits. And what this does is, because it can be so hard to get on benefits, they gave you this trial work period, the extended period of eligibility, so that you can so that you not necessarily lose your benefits right away. After your extended period of eligibility, you're in expedited reinstatement of benefits for 5 years. So 5 years, if your income goes below substantial gainful activity, that $1,350 gross earned income, and you have the same disability as you did in your initial entitlement when you first applied for benefits, then you'll be able to get back on benefits with a new entitlement. What does this mean? A new entitlement means you get these work incentives all over again. You get a new trial work period, a new extended period of eligibility, and all that stuff. Now, I want to go back to the Medicare, because remember, after 24 months of being on Social Security disability, you're going to get Medicare. And Medicare will continue for 93 months after your 9-month trial work period. So this is, as you can tell, a lot of different things that we're juggling and looking at different times in your life that your benefits are coming and going. So that's what I help people figure out at the end of the day. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is SSI, or Supplemental Security Income. For this program, it's a needs-based program. We look at your income and resources as well as your living situation. Because if you're living at home with mom and dad, you're going to get a lower rate versus if you're living out in the community paying your own rent and your own bills and stuff like that. And so Social Security has different categories depending on where you live. The other thing they look at is your resource limits. So this is like stocks, bonds, annuities, whatever's in the bank. your resource level has to be below $2,000. And yes, they do look at those stocks and bonds that you got growing up from grandma and grandpa, so we have to look at that stuff as well. Once you start working on the SSI program, there's no trial work period for the SSI program. As soon as you start working, we're going to do a calculation to help you figure out how much of your benefit will be brought down because of your earnings. But I always tell people that no matter how much you make under Social Security, under supplemental security income, you're always coming out ahead because we look at your total countable income. So even if your SSI goes down in half, you'd have to make a lot more earnings to do that, and therefore you're making more money overall. Also attached to SSI is Medicaid. And unlike Ssdi, where we have to wait 24 months to get that Medicare, for SSI purposes in New York, because different states have different rules, you're able to get Medicaid as soon as you're eligible for an SSI check. And you are, that's because of a provision called 1619B under Medicaid. And for that program, you have to have been on SSI for at least 1 month before making over substantial gainful activity, still meet all the other disability requirements, which means like the $2,000 resource limit, you can't make over that. Need Medicaid in order to work. So if Medicaid fell off the earth today, would we be able to receive our doctors, therapists, psychiatrists, adaptive equipment, wheelchairs, all that stuff? Could we pay for that ourselves? And the answer is no, most likely. Have a gross earned income that's insufficient to replace SSI, and as long as we meet those criteria under the 1619B program, we can make under $50,534 in 2022. As long as we keep our resources below $2,000, we're able to keep Medicaid. Now, the good thing about Medicaid is, if, at least in my field, if you're making $50,000, you're working a full-time job, and you're getting fringe benefits, which means medical and all that kind of stuff, your medical from your job would kick in first for your doctors and everybody, and then Medicaid is always the payer of last resort. So Medicaid will come in and pay that extra stuff that our private insurance is just not paying, as long as you're seeing a doctor that takes Medicaid as well as your private insurance at that time. So I always have to warn people about that. Since we're on Medicaid, we can talk about the Medicaid buy-in for working people with disabilities. This is a great program that started in 2003, and people with disabilities, we can work. We just need our doctors, our medications, our treatments, our wheelchairs and scooters and all that kind of stuff. And when you're able to make money so that you're not able to get, maybe you're not receiving your check anymore or something, but you need that Medicaid because your private insurance is not covering that, Medicaid buy-in is a great program. They've boosted the income for us, basically. So for regular Medicaid, it's a lot lower. For the Medicaid buy-in currently, you can make up to $63,492 gross earned income in a year. So that's a lot more than what people with disabilities used to have to live in poverty just to get our needs met and be able to pay for the services that we need to survive. So now we can make up to this amount of money or just under it, and we can have under $20,000 in resources, unlike the SSI program where we were only allowed $2,000 in resources. And also in 2011, someone woke up and decided people with disabilities want to retire someday. I'm not doing this forever. They are not counting our retirement accounts. So the 401k, the KEO, and all those things, they're not counting those towards your $20,000 in resources. So very important. So we can go to work, make a sufficient amount of money, more money than we would ever make on SSI or SSDI, and at the same time get the medical care and treatments that we need so that we can be successful in our daily lives. So the Medicaid buy-in for working people with disabilities, just to let you know, is a program that we apply for through Department of Social Services, like straight Medicaid. There's a couple extra steps that are involved. We have to fill out the Medicaid application. And if you don't have your SSD or SSI at that point, we have to basically prove that you have a medically determinable mental or physical disability as dictated by Social Security. So if you're not on Social Security, how do we do that? We do that with different forms that we get your doctor to fill out to show the severity of your disability. And so we get the Medicaid application, we get the different medical forms, and we send them all into the Department of Social Services Medicaid unit, and they have 45 days to make you eligible for that program. Oh yeah, and you also have to give them a copy of your pay stubs, because this program is for working age people. So 16 to 65, you gotta have some kind of paid work, part-time or full-time. I tend to like my people to do 10 hours of work a week just because there's a medical improvement group clause in there that you don't have to worry about yet, but so by doing 10 hours of work a week on the books and showing that you're able to pay taxes on it or try to pay taxes on it, then you can submit all that to Department of Social Services and you get the Medicaid buy-in for working people with disabilities. The next program that I want to look at is the Ticket to Work program. The Ticket to Work program, basically, we want you to go to work. Social Security wants you to go to work and hopefully someday transition off of benefits. They're giving you basically a free employment agency that's going to help you to do this. And it can be your Access VR counselors, they're called employment networks, along with a whole bunch of different employment networks that are specific to different areas of either employment or disability. So if you go on to yourtickettowork.com and put in your zip code, for some reason we still get like Pennsylvania in there because they have to give you like a 500-mile radius, but they'll show you the employment networks in your area and you have to interview them and find out which is the best agency for me to use that's going to help me reach my work goal. So is that going to be, let's say I want to drive a taxi my whole life. Is this agency going to help me adapt the car so that it's handicapped accessible? Or are they going to be able to pay for driving school and stuff like that? Or if you're going into the helping profession, will they pay for that degree so that you're able to get into it? These are all things that you're going to take into account when you start looking at employment networks that can help you. Overpayments. Many people get overpayments. The reason we get overpayments is because there's this misnomer that people have that, well, I'm working, I pay taxes, therefore Social Security knows that I'm working. If we look at Social Security in different offices, the taxation is not talking to the people over in the work incentives department. So we don't find out until years later that you were working, or Social Security doesn't, and therefore they look at, oh my God, we gave you income when you weren't supposed to get it, and they want that money back. So to combat the overpayments, I like people to report their income monthly. For SSI, it's pretty easy because as long as you have a smartphone today, you can get an app. It's the Ssi Wage Reporting app. And you go in and before the 9th of every month and give the wages that you made for the previous month. And that is your reporting to Social Security. Now for Social Security Disability, you still have to do the old-fashioned way. Either you can go in and give them a copy of your pay stubs, or after a couple visits, which what I've seen, they'll give you a fax number that you're able to give them the pay stubs and you just fax it over to them. And then that fax cover sheet that shows that you did the fax, there's your proof that you submitted all your pay stubs. As long as you've submitted your pay stubs, then we can fight the overpayment for you. We are going to help you fill out the Waiver of Overpayment form. And this form is going to help you in that we're going to look at why you got the overpayment, if it was your fault, if it wasn't your fault, if you're able to repay the overpayment is a big thing. So we look at what your expenses are, and we help you get all that information and present that to Social Security, and we can go with you to the meeting about your overpayment. And if we're successful, we can get your overpayment reduced or taken care of totally. So, but again, the best way for us to stop overpayments is to make sure that you're reporting your income before the 9th of every month. Okay, for Social Security purposes, for both Title II benefits, Social Security disability insurance or survivor benefits, and for Title XVI benefits, which are the Supplemental Security Income or SSI benefits, they make a determination on your disability based on these definitions of disability. So for children, a child is considered disabled if the child's physical or mental impairment is so severe that it results in marked and severe functional limitations. The impairment must last or be expected to last at least 12 months or more, and or result in the child's death. So that's how they figure out if someone under the age of 18 is able to receive Social Security or SSI. Now, for people over the age of 18, Social Security We'll look at the inability to do any substantial gainful activity by reason of any medically determinable mental or physical impairment which can be expected to result in death, or which lasts or can be expected to last for a continuous period of 12 months or more. So for both of these definitions, we're looking at longevity. So this is not, I broke my ankle and I'm in a cast for the next 6 to 8 weeks. This is a disability that's going to be lasting at least 12 months or more. And so for the childhood disability, we're looking at their functioning. The baby sits at this age, stands at this age, does different things, different learning styles at different ages. They'll look at all of that kind of stuff for your child in determining if their disability is significant enough so that they're able to get an SSI check. For people over the age of 18, it's all about work. So if we start working and we're making over that substantial gainful activity, that $1,350 a month, then we don't meet the definition of disability for adults. So you have to be making under that amount or prove that you have like disability expenses that would bring your income below that amount for us to be successfully able to get you on to Social Security Disability or SSI. Since SSI is a needs-based program, as I was saying before, Social Security looks at the living situations. So the different categories are: you're living in the household of another, a parent or guardian, so you're living at home with mom or dad, basically, and not paying any of the bills. That's going to be the lowest amount of SSI that you'd receive. Living with others, which is like a roommate situation. You live with someone, you go half on the rent and all the bills and stuff like that. Then there's living alone, paying your own way. And that's when you live alone. You live in your own place, you're paying your own bills, you're not getting any outside assistance from a parent or anybody. Then you're living alone, paying your own way. And then congregate care, which is a group home situation or assisted living or something like that, that would all be under the congregate care. And there's a whole bunch of different rules for that. But we can sit down with you and help you to figure out all this stuff. I've been doing benefits advisement since 2001, so I'm very knowledgeable about it at this point, and I can help you with your questions and hopefully get you what you need. Well, thanks for listening, and I hope to work with you in the future. My contact information is on your screen. Scott Barber-Weiser, LMSW, CEO and Work Incentive Practitioner, SBW Empowerment, LLC. My office is at 10 Bridge Lane, Brewster, New York, 10509. And my email is scottbw@sbwllc.org. And my number that you can reach me at is 914-494-5245. Thanks.